Oh, hey guys, I've recorded two great videos and my mic was turned off. I also wanted to watch the Clarksburg Candidate Forum tonight at Harrison County Senior Center, but apparently they had some technical difficulties also. So I don't know what was said, but I want to talk to you about the Jacksonville, Florida mayor's race last night and tie it into Clarksburg. Jacksonville, Florida is the largest city in the United States with a Republican mayor. A lot of cities, most big cities are blue. Jacksonville happens to lean a little bit red. In fact, 26 of the last 30 years, they've had a Republican mayor. Council's been dominated by Republicans. It's a pretty conservative town overall. Historically, First Baptist Church has had a lot of control over that town, although as religion starts to fade away, even in the South, the church is losing some of its political grip. Last night, they elected their first woman mayor, who happened to be a Democrat. And people were shocked because it's also Ron DeSantis' hometown. He couldn't get his political allies, buddy, across the finish line. There's been a lot of speculation as to why, and some people on the left are saying, well, it just proves that a liberal can win in red states. When I look at the lady's campaign site, I don't see a whole lot on there that would lead me to believe she's a Democrat. I'm not saying that she's a wolf in sheep's clothing is pretending to be a conservative. I'm just saying she dealt with local government issues in kind of a practical, no nonsense way. And she sounded like any nonpartisan elected official in the United States should sound like. For example, the Duval County Sheriff's Office functions as the police department in Jacksonville. They have a lot of staff shortages, very long, high response times to issues, don't have enough cops, don't have enough 911 operators, have been plagued by some scandals. And she says, we need to get them more funding, we need to hire more policemen, but we also need to find out what's wrong there and why there's a revolving door, why we get cops through the academy and then they leave. Let's fix the problem. Where her opponent just went straight into the mud, said we need to defund the police. She knew better than respond to him. If she'd responded, the focus, the blame would have shifted off the current city government that's created this problem onto something else. She knew better. Jacksonville also has some housing shortages, or at least high housing costs now. And part of it's inflation. It's people moving from the north to be in Florida. It's it's people speculating on property. And she said we need to do what we can to address out-of-state investors speculating, but we also really need to focus on zoning reform, streamlining our regulations so that people can get more housing built faster. Again, that sounds like a common sense city council candidate answer. Well, her opponent just went for, she wants to turn us into San Francisco, one of these left coast cities. She's got this woke agenda. She wants homeless. She doesn't respond. She leaves this guy out there sound like he's crazy. At least to, your average middle class, moderate voter. When Jacksonville and Duval County combined about 50 years ago, the promise was that all these outlying neighborhoods would get city services. They'd get clean drinking water, they get sewer lines, they get sidewalks, they get city trash pickup. But 50 years later, a lot of the neighborhoods still have septic tanks, they don't have sidewalks, and even nice neighborhoods in the inner Jacksonville core have been struggling with trash pickup the last few years. Incoming mayor said, we need to keep our promises. We need to get the basics of city government done for these people. It sounds like what you want to hear out of a local government official, regardless of their party. Well, her opponent just said she wants to remove Confederate monuments. That may or may not be true. I didn't see anything about Confederate monuments on her platform. It's not her focus. What's really more important to the voter? If she'd responded to that, she could have turned some people off one way or another, but she didn't. People were angry about the condition of their city, and she held herself out there as a candidate that understood the problems and was ready to address them. And the other just sat there and deflected. Moving this back to Clarksburg, in 2019, during some strategy talks, people advised Jimmy and Lily and their allies, don't go down in the gutter, don't take cheap shots. When you do that, it turns people off. You make the incumbent council people, you make the city manager into sympathetic figures. The condition of the city speaks for itself. People know the city's in bad shape, so just get out there and talk about what you're going to do to fix it. Don't respond to provocation, no matter what they do. They listen till they won. And I thought they learned their lesson, but in 2021, first things they did is attack Red Imperial. And he just briefly touched on the accusation and how it wasn't exactly true and moved on. He didn't talk about it again until after the election. He didn't respond to their attacks. He stuck to the issues. Although he didn't win, he did change the conversations being had in city council. We kind of laughed because it sounded like that summer they were just reading off his campaign platform. I think the lesson here is don't leave it up to the politicians to decide what's wrong with the city, what needs to be done. Tell them, make them come to you, make them address the actual issues. Don't let them deflect. That's my hope for Clarksburg. Holler at you later.